We came out here to tell you to your face, you can't get ready for us. No, sir.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my...
Welcome to another episode of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report 4th anniversary show. I am your host, the infamous Ultimate One, and today I have a special guest. This brother here, I've been on his podcast plenty of time, and I consider him as my brother. You know, he has helped me a lot when it comes to this podcasting and the genre of pro wrestling. I have no other than the man, the legend himself, Jay Santy from the Turnbuckle Tabloid. What is up, brother?
One day I will reach legend status. Right now, I'm in the in-between of classic and vintage.
Oh, shit. Fine wine.
It's like a fine wine. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. Yo, it was good to see you on Friday, man. For the show. I don't know. I think this House of Glory show wasn't the greatest, but we'll talk about that later on. First thing is first, we were supposed to hook up for after WrestleMania, but you know, life has gotten in the way. But give me your thoughts on how this whole thing with this world title being put now. Now they got that finals of the Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. What is your thought about that? Them bringing another title because Roman Reigns doesn't want to defend the belt, whatever the case may be.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I think it's because the networks want their own title. Now, I get it that Roman is not going to be doing both shows. And look, this is classic vintage wrestling. You know, we didn't see Hogan every week on fucking Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. We didn't see them all the time. We saw Hogan pop up. He did a promo at Piper's Pit. We'll see him at Saturday Night's Main Event. He'll do a run-in during maybe Wrestling Challenge or WWF Prime Time. But you didn't really see him. And that's what made the mystique about it. The problem is that nowadays wrestlers are everywhere, you know, and with social media and such, you can't sit there and disappear. You're everywhere. You can't hide out anymore. So right now, Roman, you know, just like all the other champions before him, Rock, Cena, even Edge. Right now, we've seen Seth dive into it a little bit. They all have aspirations to stop taking bumps and go into Hollywood.
But you know, it's funny though that there was a rumor going around, which I mean, again, is rumors, and sometimes these supposedly dirt sheets they claim themselves they're credible. There was a rumor going around that WWE was thinking of putting the undisputed tag team belts on Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns coming up at Night of Champions. But I don't know if you saw SmackDown this week, but I thought I saw in SmackDown, it doesn't look that way.
No, you know, the narrative being that having Roman with all the titles and everyone sitting there going, oh, come on now. That's the point of the heelish ways of things. The other thing is they have to find a way to get rid of the buildup of these unified belts. I thought that what they were going to do at Night of Champions was they were going to present Roman with a new belt. They were just going to tell him, hey, take these two belts. Now you're the undisputed WWE champ.
That's
and this is why, yeah, because I said on my show, I said, listen to the phrasing and the naming of these titles. You have the undisputed WWE champion, and then you have the WWE World Heavyweight champion. Heavyweight, meaning only the big boys could go for that one. Anyone over 225 and over. The WWE title, it's up for grab for everybody. Undisputed, so Ray could get it. Who else is lighting the ass? Mustafa Ali, whoever, anybody who's under 225 could compete for that belt. But we shall see. As for putting the belts on Roman and Solo, I think it'll be dumb. I think it'll be a bad move, a bad taste, seeing as though that Sammy is now having his first match in Saudi Arabia. and knowing that there was such bad blood and history between his country, Syria, and the Saudis, and for him to go all the way out there just to lose the titles, I don't think he would sign up for that.
That's the first thing that came into my mind. I was like, so you're gonna make this man travel from the West, from the United States all the way to Saudi Arabia for him to lose the belt. And do we really want to see Roman Reigns walking around with 4 titles? Because I mean, it's ridiculous.
It'll glitch WWE 2K23 when people try to make it happen, but it's I think it's just preposterous. You're not an indie guy. You're not the belt collector. You don't have to be around there doing all that shit. And it's not really proving a point. I think what is gonna turn out and what will be the play will be that the Usos somehow get involved in this and getting it.
Did you see SmackDown this week?
Yes, I did.
And that's the thing that I said about the tag team, about the rumors that they're gonna put the belts on them. I was like, the minute I saw Roman Reigns kind of bump into Sikoa, I said somewhere down the line, and the fact that the Usos lost this week, somewhere down the line, I see Sikoa turning on Roman Reigns, and then I think the whole bloodline situation. Now the rumor is that Roman Reigns is going to hold for the World Undisputed Universal title for God knows till next SummerSlam. But because they were like, Cody's going to win Money in the Bank.
Right.
But I don't think Cody's going to win the Money in the Bank. You know what I'm saying? Because, there's other rumors going around that, Conor McGregor wants to wrestle freaking Roman Reigns. That could be possible because, that whole UFC, WWE merger shit. They gave Logan Paul a fucking title shot against Roman. Why not Conor McGregor, But
I got a kid that comes on my show. Shout out to my boy M2 Inc. He comes on the show and he's just he's just confused with all this celebrity match, title shots, contendering, pandering to the cash grabs, and I'm like, dude, that's always been around in wrestling. Look at WrestleMania 1. You had fucking Mr. T in the main event with Hulk Hogan. Like,
you know what? That's funny. I just realized that now because you know how I get mad and you hear me in my podcast talk about all these celebrities come in and I forgot that they had Mr. T teamed up with Hulk Hogan at the first WrestleMania.
Yeah, and Piper went in there. He said he's not gonna have him go over on him. He wasn't gonna do business with it for him like that. But it was the cash grab. WrestleMania 2, you had the Battle Royal, and you have football players in it.
Yeah. And Roddy Piper had a boxing match with Mr. T that at the end he started beating him up.
Yeah, that's when he said he's like, fuck this, and he started shooting on him. But it's part of the business. The only thing right now, is that the celebrities that are coming in are actually good because they gravitate to the craft. They sit there and they respect it. You can say what you want about Logan Paul, but the fucking guy was a work. He outshines a lot of indie dudes that I see out there. Honestly,
yeah, that is true though, because talking about indie dudes, I mean, and for a guy like Logan Paul who's into boxing, whatever, and he just came in and he killed that match with him and Roman Reigns. I mean, I see the indie dudes now, and we saw this in House of Glory, and half of these cats came and take a bump properly, or they doing dives in the ring and missing everything.
Yeah, I got the same kind of feedback about the whole Bad Bunny thing with Damian Priest. I said, did you not see how Damian sold for the kid, but he also was able to put in the same work to look like he was a dominant big man on him? Yeah. It just like took one instant where the spinning heel kick missed and it hit the turnbuckle post, and that was the turning point of the match. That's smart, planning and booking. At the end of the day, that just puts Damian over. I mean, right now he's like the shining star, pun intended, of the locker room right now. He put a lot of focus and eyes back on the business, especially from a place where we love the business so much. So I think that you got to commend not only him, but these celebrities who actually come in and they're not half-assing it. Fucking Snooki was in a WrestleMania match and she looked like shit. But you see these guys come in and they actually, you know, I even said, you know, look at what happened with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd came in and took it serious.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but what kills me is that, I mean, at this point, I don't even bother to watch Monday Night Raw. I'll see clips and bits and pieces and just give my comments on it. I'd rather watch WWE's pay-per-view because is it me or the WWE pay-per-views are better than the weekly television stuff?
I'm on the same level when it comes to AEW. I'm the same way. I rather watch clips, whatever they put on the YouTubes out there, than watch a full show and watch their pay-per-views. Their pay-per-views have been better than what the shows really are. The build-ups have just been wash, rinse, and repeat. And I'm not only saying for AEW, but in the most part, for wrestling in a whole. But the one thing that I can say with WWE that I'm keeping my eyes on is because since there is that change, look, say what you want about this whole Vince shit. Oh, he's back. He's part of creative. Everybody starts blaming him if shit go wrong. Listen, every week is not going to be a home run. You got baseball players who go on slumps, and it happens. It's about when it turns on. And you can't sit there and say, oh, that's a Vince booking. Oh, you know, this is what's happening with her. This is a whole process that's a change. It's a big, hard restart after Mania. And now with the way the creative is, you know, everything is not going to be a home run out the park. You got to sit there and let's see how it plays out. As for AEW, with me, it's been like, Tony, when the fuck are you going to start changing up the whole format? When are you going to start allowing other people come in the book and be part of the creative? You can't do all this shit on your own, bro. You're about to do what's his fourth show?
Well, they got rid of Elevation and Dark. That's not happening anymore.
Yeah, but you still got Dynamite, you still got Rampage, you got ROH, and then you're gonna have Collision.
Yeah, Ring of Honor. He may have people work. He may have. I think he got actually people, actually writing for that show for Ring of Honor. And I don't know if you have you seen any of the Ring of Honor stuff?
Once again, it's clips, it's reading up on what occurred, and even with that, it's you got to have your fingerprint. I forgot who it was who mentioned it during a podcast where they said this is his. Matter of fact, I believe it was Bischoff, where he said that this is an expensive kid's, a rich kid's hobby. This is him playing 2K23, but with real money. This is what he's doing. This is his universe mode. And
when I hear Eric Bischoff, and he's right in a way, but again, and it's true, he does need people to creative, because the guy's burning himself fucking out. Let's see what happens once Collision starts on June 17th. Now, I already started hearing complaints about, after June 17th, everything else is going to be preempted, pre-recorded, whatever. I mean, you talking about wrestling on a Saturday at 8:00 when you got baseball, then in September you got college football, and then you got basketball coming through. So that's going to be competition. They're not going to, I don't know why they're doing it on a Saturday, but at 8:00, you should have done it at 6 at least.
Yeah, the old school 6:05. Yeah. That would have made
not at 8:00.
Yeah, but once again, he's look. I get it. It's a cash draw. It's money out there to be spent. I get it. And you overshot your thought when it came to the roster. You sat there and you believed that, I'm going to take this promotion and I'm going to take a lot of these indie guys and I'm going to make them huge. And mind you, ratings were showing it early on that was occurring. But then you realize a lot of these people aren't talented. A lot of them aren't charismatic. And a lot of them were still fucking green as Kermit the Frog's asshole. So, I mean, what were you going to do next? You were going to have to get the free agents that WWE let go, and now you overexpanded your roster, and you needed to do something about it. Granted, I want everybody to make money. I want everybody to work. That's great. But when you're overblowing your roster and you had nothing for them to do and you're paying them to stay home, what's the next step? The next step is that now you got to make this show. Now all of a sudden we're going to split rosters. we got to find a way to compensate the talent for not being utilized. What happens next? I don't know. It sounds like a disaster in the making to me.
And the way I'm looking at this whole thing with AEW, the fact with this whole fucking CM Punk shit, they're saying that they got a backup plan. So that means they're not even sure if this man is coming. I have a feeling he's gonna show up. I mean, there's no way in the world what would you say that you booked the United Center for June 17th if you're not bringing him in. That makes no sense. That's the way I'm looking at it. But at the same time, they're too concentrated on that June 17th date. When in reality, if you look, like I said, you don't watch Dynamite like that, but I've been watching Dynamite the last couple of weeks. There's that 4-pillar match. It's not getting built like it's supposed to be getting built. You know, they're concentrating on the Elite and Blackpool Combat Club. I'm like, wait a minute. They started building on the 4 pillars, and now they're just like more into this Blackpool Combat Club. And don't get me wrong, the stories are good, but the Double or Nothing is one of the biggest pay-per-view of the year, and this is not being a good build-up.
Well, I'm not sure if you listen to Cornette, but he and Brian Last, they do a review of the ratings of AEW Dynamite every week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want, you can check it out on WrestleNomics. They do a quarterly breakdown for it every week. And they've come to realize on many of the instances, the Elite aren't really drawing. Who really draws is Kenny as a single.
Yeah.
That's what's really been the draw. His main event match was with El Hijo de Vikingo.
Oh yeah,
you say his name is the last one we had with Moxley, which was you say what you want, but okay. Those are the ones who drew. Everything else has been not drawing eyes to the product at all. They've been hovering around 850, 860,000 viewers every week from a show that was at least getting 1.3, 1.4 every week. That's not good.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and they had this week 814,000 viewers. I don't know why, but yep, ranked 7 on cable.
And this is what I'm saying. Okay, you could blame the NBA, but they're in the playoffs. They're in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals. Okay, same thing with hockey. You could say that. Okay, whatever. You could still say, what else can you say? There's nothing really else out of baseball. Okay, maybe it's not as much as an attention grab as it used to be, but with the new rules, people are watching a little bit more. But you're still having to deal with that transition when you had the same thing going on a year ago, and a year ago you was hovering around 1.2, 1.3. So what happened? What changed that?
Honestly, ever since Revolution, their shows have not been good. I mean, there was like 3 weeks in a row that I was like head scratchers, like, yo, what I just saw, like, and it looks like that's like not enough strong effort. And then, I mean, I don't know. And then the fact that I know all of a sudden I see Art Anderson being Warlord's manager, I'm like, if you guys are not going to build a group like the Four Horsemen, why in the world do you have Warlord with Art Anderson? Especially you start talking about the Four Horsemen, I get all excited and whatnot. But I'm like, okay, so you go from bringing in Art Anderson as Warlord, manager, and now instead of him wrestling Luchasaurus for the TNT title, which that title don't mean shit anymore, you got him against Christian Cage. When Christian Cage just lost to Jungle Boy at the pay-per-view. I mean, it makes no sense. How he's getting a title shot.
Once again, cash grab, trying to draw eyes on the product. Christian getting one more go around for it. Does he win the title? I wouldn't be surprised. That's just been the hot potato belt since it got. That's what exactly it should be. It should be a flaming potato instead of the TNT logo.
Yeah, that title has changed like at least 7 times this year.
Yeah. that title should be known as the Big Show because it's done so much turns in the past year or so. It's ridiculous. But I think that and people always say, yo, you always shit on AEW. So I shit on AEW because they give me the toilet bowl to do it on. I mean, I really do want to enjoy wrestling, and that's my my real love for the business, that everything works and everybody's getting it. But right now, you got to start letting the reins go and let somebody else. Listen, you have one of the greatest minds in the business, if not the right now. You got Jeff Jarrett working for you, and he's not doing creative. He's part of live events.
Yeah,
like
that.
How do you do that?
And you got Arn Anderson in there. I don't know what he's doing. Like I said, manager. What type of
and
shit?
You brought in some social media podcasting kid to help you with creative.
Huh?
If that's not a true tell of a hobbyist doing his thing, I don't know what the fuck it is.
Listen, I don't know where this going. I mean, the Wembley Stadium show coming up in August, that shit better be a banger. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, I know New Japan has Resurgence coming up next weekend, and I think it's Will Ospreay against Hiroshi Tanahashi, and the winner of that gets a shot at Kenny. Man, if Will Ospreay beats, I mean, I think he's gonna beat Tanahashi. I see it happening, and they should do at Wembley Stadium Omega Ospreay too. There's, I don't want to hear they want to put CM Punk and FTR against the Elite as the main event, because that doesn't bring me no joy. I want to see Omega Ospreay 2 at Wembley. You know?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
this
is the
dude.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The dude that they brought in was as a wrestling administrator coordinator, whatever the fuck that means, is Will Washington, better known for founding host of the popular wrestling podcast Grapsity. What?
I never fucking heard of that.
Yeah.
For what? For then later on, let's say something happens, he's gonna sue AEW, because that was some shit that happened a couple of years when they first started. They had, you remember when they first brought in Dark Order, there was a guy that they were using in the promos that they used him like he was a loser, and then they gave him a mask and whatever. Well, that same guy ended up trying to sue AEW, and when he was in some podcast too, whatever. I mean, they need to stop the shit and just bring in real, all these old school wrestlers, and God forbid they don't bring in Goldberg. You know what I'm saying? Because the word is that Goldberg may, Tony Khan may bring him in. And my question is, for what?
To get one shot him. It's going to be a hot shot. Listen.
Warlord?
Listen, for Wembley, I laughed because I was like, good luck. And at the same time, those European fans, especially in the UK, they'll come out in droves for it. And he knows that. He knew that he can do that. He knew it. In which, that's smart. That's smart booking. That's smart planning. That's good business. And if you're gonna sit there and just throw everything in one show, throw all the ingredients in one pot to hope to feed everybody, that's the cash grab. Got to get Goldberg in there. You're gonna try to get Goldberg versus CM Punk or some shit like that. I mean, I don't know what the fuck you're gonna try to do over there.
Well, if he was smart, like I said, he would do the Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. He would put Aussie Open against FTR. Right, those two right there, the banger. But I think the FTR Aussie Open is going to happen at Forbidden Door.
But once again, he lost his way, because remember, his way was, let's get all these indie guys together and let's make a show, a promotion that's gonna outshine WWE, because WWE doesn't recognize good talent. But a lot of the guys you're using aren't even your homegrown talent anymore. You just mentioned New Japan guys. You just mentioned fucking former WWE guys. Like, I mean, come on. Like I said, I understand. You realize that after your fucking 3-year plan, that it was like, what are we gonna do now? And you got to go for gusto.
Yeah, because I still, the biggest head scratcher for me was Jeff Hardy back again. And I'm saying, are you serious? Are you still thinking, man, and I won't put it past him, of him having maybe the Hardy Boys beat FTR for the AEW tag team titles.
For one last shot.
Oh God, no. I mean, if you look at Matt Hardy, he is slow in that ring. That guy has had so many injuries.
5 or 6 years. He's been done.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, that's what I'm saying. Why would you bring the Hardys back just because it's Jeff and Jeff does the Swanton? Because if you really think about it, the faster one in that tag team right now is Jeff. But Matt Hardy, when you see him in that ring, it's ridiculous, you know. And it's true because right now they got this AEW Collision coming up, right? Now you got all these guys that you don't use in Dynamite. So now you could bring in Miro, right? Now Thunder Rosa. That Thunder Rosa, I will not put her in AEW. I won't even put women wrestling in AEW Collision at all. You know what I'm saying? I'll bring in Andrade, Miro. Who else is there? They don't fuck Lance Archer, which I still don't get why the fuck they got this guy there and they don't use him.
He doesn't know either. You ask him.
He be shouting them out.
Mm-hmm.
he be putting them on blast. So you got all these guys that you don't use, and you could put them in Collision. You know what I'm saying? Now, my fear is that supposedly CM Punk is supposed to be part of AEW Collision, and Jericho's supposed to be was supposed to be his first feud. Now they're saying it's not. So if you bring in Jericho to Collision, so what happens to the JAS?
I don't even know because right now it's not even looking good for them with the CM Punk thing because Ace Steel, which is his boy who was involved in the whole incident that happened, he was supposed to be part of Collision. Because I was part of the brief, I guess, a deal to bring them all back, and now that he's not going to be there, so Punk said, "Oh, really? Since I'm not going to be there, then fuck it. I'm not going. If he's not going to be there, I might not pull up either."
Because they're saying that AEW did not first, according to our little friend from the podcast that does the announcing and the commentating in House of Glory. He put something out yesterday that yesterday or Friday that they have rehired Ace Steel on the low,
right?
A couple of months ago. Now AEW is denying that. So you know what I'm saying? If they're denying it, then and now they all of a sudden got a plan B for how you call it for in case CM Punk don't come, then it's not guaranteed. Then
all right. So let me ask you this. I remember, we were anticipating Punk coming back the first time. You know, they sold out the venue. It was crazy. Everybody was mad hype, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So I'm believing that they're going to go under the guise of trying to do that again, where they want to try to keep it low key and with him coming back.
Yeah,
I think the stipulation is different this time. Number one, it's a second coming. Like, and it wasn't like he's been gone for all those years. He's only been gone for, almost
close to a year.
Yeah, almost a year. That's one. Two, it's on a fucking Saturday show. Like, it's not even, you're supposed to do that on your biggest show, not on a debuting show. It's a Saturday show at 8:00.
But I think it's like a punishment. Because they figure like they can't then again, like I said, it could be warning media saying we want him back. But see, like I said, CM Punk is so freaking toxic, bro. This guy's a cancer. I still say he's a cancer. And he wants demands. Now, mind you, he's probably one of the highest paid, guys in the roster because otherwise they would not be going all out for him to come back and whatnot. So, to me, I look at it as it's a punishment for now. He got to earn his way back to AEW Dynamite. That's the way I see it. Otherwise, why would they? Why
is it that he gets punished and the rest of them didn't? They got a little slap on the fucking wrist and they were back, and now they're in a fucking forefront with the BCC and all that shit, and they're gonna have this big match with they all were involved in the same shit.
Yeah,
but
you got to think about it.
That's nonsense.
Tony Khan's season. Well, if it wasn't for them, I want to have this little toy that I have.
Really? Because
that's the way I look at it.
How much money did they put in it? Because I don't think they put in any. The one who put
I
the
don't
money
know.
was
I don't know what was the money or whatever. They probably came with the
really,
idea.
the idea, all he had to do was just sit there and say, hey, I'm gonna start a wrestling promotion. Who wants to wrestle for me? And everybody would have came in droves. My other thing is also, once again, here's the punishment. You guys got punished because we just mentioned, as of last year, when Punk was on TV, you were drawing 1.4, 1.3 million viewers a week. Now you're breaking what? 814?
I think the last time they made $1 million was back in February. They made like 2 weeks in a row. And after that, they haven't done that.
Yep. So what that goes to show you, you're bending the knee to the wrong people when you got to bend the knee to the person who's actually going to be the cash grab.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't know. To me, I think the way I look at it is they put him on a Saturday night. That's like a punishment. Like, don't do this again. Now it's like he got to work his way. It's like, how can I say it? It's like a guy in WWE, let's say if he did something, I don't know. Let's use Bobby Lashley, for example. He did something in the back, whatever. Now he comes on main event. Now he's on main event every week, right? Now he got to earn his way back into SmackDown or Raw. Otherwise, he stays in main event. So, I mean, because AEW Collision, it's not, I mean, until I see it, if it's into the level of Dynamite or a little close to it, which is like a SmackDown,
and it's not going to. And
I don't see it happening.
And from what I heard, it might not even be a punishment. It's a way of saying, okay, listen, guys, since you can't get along with each other, what we're going to do is we're just going to give you 2 separate shows. You guys stay on Dynamite. Punk, you could go on Collision and you could do whatever you want over there.
Yeah.
That'll be your show, and we'll see. And if it's going to be anything, if he doesn't draw ratings on that show, that's basically going to be like, well, Punk, we gave you a shot, and look, you didn't bring us money. You ain't bring us revenue. So in that case, I don't even think it's a punishment. I think it's a setup.
Yeah, I mean, it could backfire on Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Because it could go from, okay, you got Dynamite, that's the flagship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, CM Punk is on Saturdays, and they start beating Dynamite on Saturdays every week.
Huh?
Now what you gonna do now? You gonna bring CM Punk back to Dynamite?
Yeah, it's
you're gonna move. What are you gonna do with the Elite? Move them to Collision?
It's gonna be interesting how this plays out. Like I said, I see this being a disaster.
Well, I could also see this.
Yeah,
I could also see this because, and this is my prediction. I'm playing fantasy booking here, whatever. This whole Blackpool Combat Club shit it's gonna happen. Double or Nothing. I see Takeshita turning on the Elite, and then I even see the Young Bucks turning on Kenny Omega because I saw one of their YouTube shows, and they keep bringing back when Omega lost the belt to Paige and how the Young Bucks came to the ringside and didn't help Omega retain the belt. So I could see the Young Bucks turning on Kenny Omega, and then you bring Ibushi in, and then you can move Kenny Omega to Collision. That's if CM Punk, by him being in Collision, is bringing up a lot of ratings, and then they switch him to Dynamite.
Yeah, listen, these day and age, from what we're hearing, Omega is on his last wheels, and if rumors are what they say, if he's going to close out his career, he wants to have he wants to have one shot at the big time. So to say that he's going to be around with that company for too long anyway.
So you think he'll end up at WWE? If
the money's right, of course, and they already know that, they could fantasy book him.
Yeah.
They don't have to give him a full-time contract. I mean, a full-time schedule. That'll be his cash grab and be out. Do his swan song, have his matches, and then be out. Yeah, I don't see this day and age in the business. Once you saw Cody jump back to WWE, that's the real forbidden door. That was like, oh shit, okay, there might be possibilities here.
Yeah. But they're gonna keep dragging that. You think they're gonna keep dragging that storyline with Cody and him winning probably the belt on next year's WrestleMania, or you think he'll get it by, let's say, SummerSlam?
The main story right now is the Bloodline story. We all know that. Cody's second, and with Cody, it's because he's just like his father. He wants to fight from underneath. Yeah. That builds the story. When you're right there, when you're about to grab that brass ring, baby, and they take it away from you. Remember, Dusty chased Harley Race for years. He chased Rick for years.
Yep.
That fan base grew with him when they broke his leg in the fucking cage.
Yeah.
And that crowd rioted when they was ready to tear it down and shit.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
And that's what Cody looks at. He looks at that's the way it's supposed to go. I think the longest storytelling would be for Cody to do it at Mania, if it's making sense.
But you think Roman's gonna hold the belt that long?
I don't think so. I think
because it doesn't make no sense. I don't want him winning that new world title because that don't mean nothing. I want him to win the one that Roman has.
I think that's what the go-to is to get it off of Roman. But it's also to see how long will the fans. Remember, the fans these days, they got ADD. Like I mentioned earlier, this day is a different age from before because you could wait years because you didn't see wrestling all the time. If you were lucky to be able to see wrestling once a week or once a month, a certain superstar, you will miss them, and then finally, you get the review. This happened at a live event and all that, and then you get to see But this day and age, it's more of everything's rapid. Everything has to happen.
Everything got to be quick.
As much as I would like to believe that Cody will be the long story of Mania, I really still believe that the closure of the bloodline will be Roman versus Rock at next year's Mania to fulfill who is the true tribal chief.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Now, let's talk about House of Glory. This past Friday, we were in there. What do you think about the whole show? Just the whole show?
It's funny because when you watch an indie event and you're sober as shit, that's awful. Especially if you're a very fun drinker like I am. That's not that it's awful. Let me phrase it. It's just long. It runs longer than you think.
But they ran it long this week.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So I figured that, like, if I was drinking, if I had to go to work that night, I would have probably been I'd have been in my 7th or 8th beer. Like I'd have been doing it in. It would have been okay for me. But as for the show itself, I thought it had moments of being a very good show. You had certain matches that had that kind of appeal for the audience. I thought the Motor City Machine Guns main event match was good.
Yeah.
So they were really good. They were on the edge for that. The close of the main event we will talk about was actually really good. I thought that was fun. They were just spots, the gauntlet match went a little bit too long.
Was you surprised my Tequila lost the belt?
No, I wasn't. The way that it did happen, I was. But was I surprised he lost it? No, I wasn't.
I know. I think my favorite match of the night was the last. I think the last match was the last Cardona against Jacob Fatu. Now, first of all, for all people who live in New York City and are wrestling fan, you guys got to go to a House of Glory show. They're pretty good. I mean, it's very fun, and the crowd is live and whatnot. It's you got a nice little crowd. But what surprised me in that event was Jacob Fatu, who was the House of Glory world champ, losing to Matt Cardona. Now that kind of surprised me because I figure like Cardona, just coming through. I mean, there's rumors that he might come back to WWE, but he ended up beating Fatu, which means to me like, well, I guess Fatu is done with House of Glory. I mean, what can you tell me about that?
King of the Indies, man. That's just all that's gonna happen. King of the Indies. Fatu had a really strong run in House of Glory. He had some really good matches. He had JTG. He had your man from New Japan Strong, Fred
Rosser.
And
Nick Aldis. He had a good match with Nick Aldis too.
Yeah, he had a match with Aldis as well.
Jonah. He had a banger match with Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah, hell yeah,
that shit was good.
It's he had a legit run. I'm also believing that I didn't realize how young he is. He's only 31 years old. So Jacob Fatu is only
I
30.
thought he was 36.
No, when I look at his wiki, he's only 31 years old.
Really?
Yeah, so he's got time on his on his plate where there's possibilities for him. So I mean, I know the Indies has been doing well for him. I know that they're paying well, and I know MLW has been holding him by the pubic hairs to keep him there.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And sooner or later, that's gonna have to break, and he's gonna have to sign up somewhere. He's gonna have to.
He's gonna, and I see it right now. If I'm saying if the WWE continues with this bloodline, whatever, he'd be perfect in that storyline. You know, I just checked it right now. Yeah, he's 31. I don't know where I saw somewhere he was 36.
Yeah, he's 31 years old, and man, I can speak a little freely. I've hung out with him a couple of times. Good dude, really good dude. And I didn't realize when you look at his physique, when you look at his size, you look at like, okay, this dude looks, he looks like he got some size on him and stuff.
Yo, I didn't even know that's the son of Tama, who used to be part of the Islanders.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I didn't know that.
I went up to approach him to check up on how he's doing and everything while he's there, and I went and patted him on his shoulders and on his chest, and I'm like, yo, this dude is fucking solid. It's
I saw him Friday, and like me and him we always had a good vibe. Like I bought merchandise with him, I taking pictures with him. He saw me, he like recognized me, right? And I gave him a pound, and I'm like, this motherfucker is big. He's a fucking solid dude. And he's like, I'm a 6'2", well, 6'1", because I'm old. I guess I'm shrinking. This guy's like 6'4", with like 300 something pounds. Well, they got him at 280 on Wikipedia, but he's the coolest dude there is, man.
Yeah, and he's a monster.
He's a down to earth guy.
He's a true definition of what they say is a Sherman tank with a Ferrari engine. That's exactly what he is. Yeah. Real crazy. But on the other side, Cardona right now is the hottest thing in the Indies.
Yeah,
he's great. The gimmick is working. He's shown and proved that he can draw. He's asking for big money in the Indies, and I was been lucky to see him twice in a vast amount of weeks, and each showing he's a pro. He goes out there and he does his business, and he's so even though he wants to work heel, he still draws an audience and relatable to the fan base, and which is really cool. So I wasn't surprised to see him pull out the W and get the HOG championship. Plus, I know Brian and Red is gonna love him carrying that shit around and fucking going on social media with that shit.
Yeah, and then I think what made him he considers himself an indie guy was GCW. That match with him and Nick Cage, which was mad bloody and crazy. I think that's what brought him up. I think one promotion messed up on him big time. Number one, watch it too. Impact was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Impact was one of them, and NWA was one of them. Even though he had a bad luck that when he took the NWA belt, I forgot who he beat for the belt. I think it was Nick Aldis. I'm not sure, but he got hurt. I think he had an ankle injury or whatever. Right. And of course, Billy Corgan, whatever his name is, went in and it was like, oh no, you got to relinquish the belt, whatever. But the guy was carrying around 7 damn titles at one point. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think, it's a smart move. It's true what you say, because now, he's really always in the internet, whatever. That helps out House of Glory, but, it is what it is. But that is it for me today, buddy. Hey, I am glad that you came by, bro. You're always welcome, bro. Again, guys,
I can pull up next week.
You can pull up next week. You can pull up anytime, bro.
Sure, I'll pull up next week. I got you. Well, before we go, I just want to congratulate you on 4 years, man. Let me tell you something. Listen, you already know. I know how it is. I've been doing Turnbuckle for 6, so I know the grind. I know what it is to, have to, take the notes. Make sure that you are constantly up there posting, reposting, growing that following, and constantly being able to get that conversation going with people. And I also tell people, listen, we're never really insiders. We're just people who who just share their opinions on shows. You ever thought about wanting to be like an insider, like a fucking Meltzer and all, and like an Alvarez? I don't want any of that smoke. I want to stay away from all that shit.
I mean, I don't mind. I won't mind doing something like that, but I feel like my podcast, and it's funny that you say I take notes because I don't take no damn notes. I say everything from my head.
You don't take notes, like you don't jot down, like see, because me, I have to do like wrestling rundown. I have news stories that I run down. Those are my notes. I do my my notes for certain events and stuff because I'm getting old, man. We getting old, so
you know what's funny?
I
funny.
gotta take notes.
I'm getting old because I just turned 53 a couple of weeks ago, and I'm saying, but I don't take notes. It's like I could watch a show, and I could watch a show, and I'm like, I'm gonna talk about this, I'm gonna talk about that. Then I'll probably take a couple of notes, like little news here and there, and then when I do my podcast, I just let it roll. That's it. You know,
I make it seem flawless, but I have to continue because a lot of years of smoking marijuana and the years of consuming alcohol can rot the brain a little bit. So
I did smoke marijuana in my days, but that's why I forget shit.
The last show I did with Oski, we were sitting there, we were just kicking the shit, doing whatever, and I'm sitting here getting my sip on, just talking, whatever. By the end of the show, I'm sitting there and I'm going, what the fuck did I just say? And then I listen to the playback. I go, oh, okay, I did well. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, like, but again, thank you for the.
No, man, I know the work, man. It's crazy.
Let me tell you something, and I know, and regardless, this is gonna go up anyway. I don't care. But the one thing I have learned in the 4 years, okay, is I don't mind doing interviews with wrestlers and stuff like that. But the one thing I noticed about that is sometimes some of the indie guys, they ask you to promote their stuff, and once their shit's promoted, you're no longer in. You no longer need it. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I have learned here. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? If I want to interview somebody, it's got to be somebody that I know. I'm like, yo, he's cool. I could do that for him. You know what I'm saying? It's and one guy that I always appreciated that who was my first guest on my show was Hank Flanagan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I did a, and I was scared as shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I was scared as shit. And the flow that me and him had, bro, I have not found that with anybody else.
Hey, listen, this is why he's always on my show. Hank's Happy Hour, guys. Check him out on Turnbuckle Tabloid. He gets his appearance at least once a month here. So
yeah. So once again, guys, this is Jay Santy from Turnbuckle Tabloid. You can check them out every week, and give your info and let everybody know where they can reach you, bro.
Make sure you check us out on all the social media outlets. Check us out on the like and group page on Facebook. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Turnbuckle Tab, as well as on Twitter at Turnbuckle Tab. Also, be sure you check us out on the YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, wherever the fuck else is the streaming site where we go to. You can check us out at Turnbuckle Tabloid there, and download, subscribe, be a part of the vibe of Turnbuckle Tabloid on all podcasting platforms: iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you can find podcasts. That's where we at. And always check out the family at RageWorksNetwork.com and at RageWorks.net.
There you go, guys. You got it all. This is the 4th anniversary show. And Jay, thank you for coming in. We always welcome. We get in here and we talk shit. We just have a blast, and I appreciate it, man. Thank you for everything.
Nah, bro. Thank you for having me on.
Right, cool.
Good luck, man.
All right, peace.